For the final time this championship campaign, hello and welcome back to Goals Galore and welcome to my championship match week 46 predictions for one last time this season. If you do go on to enjoy, smash that like button and subscribe to Goals Galore, it would really mean a lot. And of course, the season ends, but the content doesn't. We've got so much planned, so make sure you stick around and let me know your thoughts for the final day of the championship in the comment section down below, as there's still so much to play for. Let's get started with it for one last time. We begin at St Andrews, and we're kicking off with a huge game. It has implications at both ends of the table in the playoffs and the relegation battle. It's Birmingham hosting Norwich City. Norwich unbeaten in the last 5 games. Birmingham unbeaten in the last 3 games. They've started to turn it around, but is it too little, too late for the Blues? In this one, I think at home, they've got to put a big performance out. They have to. Survival's at stake here against Norwich, who, it's very unlikely they're going to get kicked out of the playoffs on the final day because, of course, they're in by a lot of goal difference, which is keeping them in place over Hull City in 7th. In this one, then, I think Blues turn up on the final day to secure safety. It's in their own hands. It's not in their own hands. They have to wait for other results to go their way. But you probably think at least one of them would go their way as long as they get a win. In this one, Birmingham to win 2-1 against Norwich. Up next is a game of beach ball at CBS, but still, of course, a game you have to predict nevertheless. It's Coventry versus QPR, and until recently, both sides were playing for something at different ends of the table. Coventry looking to secure a playoff spot, but of course, due to involvement in the FA Cup, that has sort of taken a hit on their league form, and in the end this will be a championship fixture next season thanks to Martí Cifuentes, of course, at QPR, keeping them up in some style as well. I mean, last time, what a win. No one saw that coming by that margin as well. In this one, I cannot back against them. Coventry really have slipped off recently in the second half of the season, of late as well, because we thought for some time, they're going to make the playoffs, but then they've just been a little bit underwhelming this season. I think it's fair to say they did start really slow. But as for QPR, really excited to see what they can do next season. In this one, though, on the final day at the CBS, Coventry 1, QPR 2. Moving over to Portman Road for Ipswich, hosting Huddersfield Town. And of course, what a win it was for Ipswich midweek on the Tuesday night, away at the CBS to beat Coventry 2-1. And now going into the final day, all they need is a point to secure safety. But they might not even need that in all matter of fact, because Leeds, of course, play Southampton, 3rd versus 4th, going into it, which is a very tricky game for both sides involved in that one. Leeds would have to win and hope Huddersfield can do them a favour. Going on to Huddersfield, of course, if they want to survive, they need to get, I think it's a 16-goal swing with Plymouth Argyle on the final day, which, beating Ipswich is hard enough, and then to get a bit of a goal swing on them is starting to get a bit unrealistic there. I can't see it happening. Huddersfield, they've been floating around the relegation zone for a few years now, and, Neil Warnock hasn't been in charge of the season to keep them alive at the end. In this one, I think Ipswich will get promoted to the Premier League on the final day in style. They'll win this one 5-0 at Portman Road to kickstart the Premier League promotion party. Fair play, Ipswich, and cannot wait to see how you get on in the Premier League next season. Off to Leeds, and they do play Southampton, as we just mentioned, at Ellen Road, and two sides that were in contention all season to finish in the top 2, but coming down to the wire at the end, neither side had the bottle to really absorb the pressure and take advantage of it. In the end, it's been Leicester and Ipswich. But of course, Ipswich could still fall at the final hurdle. You did just hear my prediction for that. But for me, in this one, Leeds will know what's on the line. They'll know that they can still achieve second spot, but playoffs is the most likely outcome for them at the end of the day. So all things considered, Russell Martin Southampton will probably want to, get a few goals in this one to try and build a bit of momentum going into the playoffs. But of course, do you risk your best players, of course, getting injured on the final day in a game, which ultimately means nothing? Southampton will finish 4th this season, no matter the outcome at Ellen Road this Saturday. In this one, though, I think Leeds, they'll know they can get something out of this season still on the final day. So I think they will win. A narrow margin, but I don't think it'll be the game everyone hyped it up to be a few months ago. 2-1 Leeds in this one. Moving on to our champions of the Championship, it's Leicester City, and they have a chance to make it 100 points this season. So many of us thought that they were going to surpass that by a lot of points this season, but in the end, they have fallen off, giving other people a chance to catch up with them, and in the end, they still have a chance to make it 100 points if they beat Blackburn Rovers at the King Power this Saturday. Now, of course, awesome for Leicester, but moving on to Blackburn, they do find themselves going into the final day needing a point to confirm their safety. Now, you can look at it from two perspectives. The first perspective I'm going to give to you is that are Leicester going to be on the beach? Are they going to be, just still partying after their victory away at Preston on Monday, confirming the title, of course? Or is Enzo Maresca going to take this one very seriously and get the lads to 100 points? Of course, it is a big motivation. It just depends what version of Leicester turns up in this one. And Blackburn, of course, we've seen them upset the likes of Leeds in recent weeks away at Ellen Road. It could happen here, but I don't think it's written out to be that way. I think it's written in the stars for a 2-0 Leicester win to seal the title and lift the trophy on the final day. 2-0 to the Foxes at the King Power. Best of luck in the Premier League next season, and Blackburn Rovers will have to keep an eye on other results during the afternoon. Moving on, we go to the Riverside for Middlesbrough versus Watford. Now, although neither side has anything to play for on the final day to go up or down and secure safety, this is a very interesting matchup, and I do feel like this is going to be goals galore on the final day in this one. Earlier on in the season, it did end 3-2, Middlesbrough coming out on top. And I think it'll end the same way in this one at the Riverside, 3-2 to Middlesbrough. Of course, Tom Cleverley and Watford have been involved in very entertaining games recently. Of course, Tom Cleverley, given the full-time manager job now at Watford, he'll have summer to prepare his squad and pre-season going into next season. And since he's taken over, they've been a very tough side to beat. Of course, winning last time out. Very draw-heavy, though, overall, through his reign at the moment. As for Middlesbrough, Michael Carrick, if they didn't start the season so slow, they'd 100% maybe even be in contention for second place. They've been really, really good lately. But of course, going into next season, they need to pick up that consistency. In this one, though, as I say, Middlesbrough to win 3-2 on the final day. A very, very interesting game to treat both sets of supporters who will be in a championship once again with their clubs next season. Moving on, we go to Home Park. It's Plymouth hosting Hull, and the stakes don't get any higher for both sides. Plymouth, it's in their own hands to survive. A point won't do it. A win probably would. 100% would, no matter what the Birmingham score would be. And at Home Park as well, it's a rather tricky one because, of course, Plymouth are really good at home. However, the visitors, Hull, are better away from home. And Hull, of course, still have something to play for going into the final day, of course. They can still make the playoffs. If Preston beat West Brom, then, of course, Hull beating Plymouth as well would mean Hull finish 6th place. Or if West Brom end up winning that one, there's still a chance that Hull can knock Norwich out of the top 6 race if Birmingham beat Norwich on the final day and Hull beat Plymouth on the final day as well. So much to go through, but there has to be a lot of goals included. I think it's something silly like 8 goals included. We've seen, crazy things happen on the final day before. My team Swansea comes to my mind when I talk about goal swings on the final day. Of course, knocking Forest out of the playoffs on the final day just a few years ago. But in this one, I think Hull will get the win, and they'll have to wait and see what happens elsewhere. As for Plymouth, this means it won't be in their own hands, which is very nervy for them. But it is at Home Park, so it could go either way. I think it'll be goals galore here. 3-2 Hull, though, in the end. What an incredible game it was last week against Ipswich. But of course, last home game for Plymouth was a win against Leicester City at home. They can turn up. They've beaten Norwich 6-2 at home this season as well. They've had some crazy score lines. One more needed for Argyle to confirm safety. But in this one, Hull to win 3-2 away at Home Park. Off to the New York Stadium. It'll be a League One stadium next season, but another game of beach ball. The visitors are Cardiff City, and they did fair play to them, start the season relatively well, and then they slipped off, and then they've started to pick up a little bit, but ultimately consistency really has let them down this season. They haven't drawn many games. They've either won or lost this season, which reminds me a lot of Blackburn in the last few years. In this one, I can see Cardiff getting the win, though. away to Rotherham 2-1. However, in saying that, I have a sneaky feeling Rotherham could get something out of this game. I don't know if that's the bias talking, being a Swansea fan, or if it is a genuine feeling. I'm just going to go, though, with Cardiff getting the win on the final day. 2-1 away to Rotherham. Moving on to the Bet365, it's a championship fixture next season. It's Stoke versus Bristol City. Two sides have had very different seasons. Stoke have been very hyped up this season to have a really good year after their transfer window. But of course, it really didn't come to anything, and they've ended up fighting relegation. They are safe going into the final day. What an incredible win it was away to Southampton last time out. As for Bristol City, I cannot wait to see them next season. I really do think they could be onto something good under Liam Manning. Have to wait and see how the summer window goes. But in this one, nothing really to play for. But I'm just going to go Bristol City 2-1 win. I was considering putting Stoke out for the win, but now they're safe. I don't think they'll really mind too much. It's a really difficult one to predict because Bristol City, they tend to perform better against better clubs. And no offence to anything to Stoke, but you know they're not been up there this season, have they? Which is why I think in this one Bristol City will win 2-1 away at Stoke. But good game of football for the final day. Moving on to Sunderland, the Stadium of Light, and they welcome Sheffield Wednesday, who will bring a lot of fans this one, no doubt, on the final day. Danny Roll, he's a point away from getting Sheffield Wednesday what could be going down as one of the greatest escapes in Championship history. You know, I think it was 1 point from 11 games, something incredible like that. And now on the final day, they only need a point to confirm their safety in the Championship. And you know what? I don't think they'll just get a point. I think they'll get all 3 points. Sunderland been very underwhelming this season. They failed to sort the manager situation out around Christmas, although it was a big shock to everyone that they did sack Tony Mowbray in the end. But all about the summer and next season for them now. Be really intrigued to see who they bring in. I've heard the names of Paul Heckingbottom, Steve Cooper rumoured around. And to be honest, I think they could do a good job at Sunderland. But is it a long-term fix? I think Steve Cooper would be. Heckingbottom, I'm a bit unsure, considering how he's done at Sheffield United. In this one, though, it's all about Sheffield Wednesday, and I think they will get the win here. Sheffield Wednesday to win 2-0 away at Stadium of Light on the final day to confirm their safety on the final day in the Championship for another year against all the odds. Congratulations, Sheffield Wednesday. Been incredible this season, especially the fans. Maybe not the football team at times, but you've pulled through in the end thanks to Danny Roll. Moving on, we go to Swansea versus Millwall. I'll be going to this game. There will be a matchday vlog on the channel, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that one, guys. The final home game of the season. It's been a rollercoaster for both sides. In this one, I had I had high hopes for Millwall, really high hopes, in fact. I thought they'd get a comfortable playoff spot, but it did not materialise at all. Things just went downhill from kick-off on the opening day, really, didn't they? Of course, in the reverse fixture of this one, Swans did win 3-0. It was a very convincing win under old manager now, Michael Duff. But recently, under Luke Williams now, we're always looking forward. And I'm actually looking forward to the game. You know, under Michael Duff, I wasn't really looking forward to going to watch the Swans, but Luke Williams really has brought it back for us now, and I can't wait for next season. Honestly, think we could have a really exciting season. As long as we're competing for something, I'm very happy. Not relegation, survival in next season. In this one, though, I think the Swans, who have been on a decent run recently, good 2-2 draw away to Norwich last time out. I've got to see them in action. And what a goal from Sarah. What a goal from Sarah. I know we have talked about Norwich already in this video, but cannot go without saying how good that goal was. It was unreal. Anyway, Millwall recently as well have been on a bit of a good run of form. But in this one, on the final day, I have to back the Swans to get 3 points. Building and ending strongly. And I think the Swans will win this one 2-1 on the final day. Tempted to give us a clean sheet, but something tells me Millwall will just sneak a goal. And of course, maybe a return of Michael Obafemi in this one. Have to wait and see. Anyway, 2-1 to the Swans on the final day at home. And the final game to predict is West Brom hosting Preston North End on the final day. And yeah, Preston, their season's over and ending really poorly, really poorly. They made it 4 defeats in a row on Monday night, losing to Leicester City at home, and it did look a bit like a training exercise. We did a live watch on the channel for that one. But as for West Brom, it's been really poor for them as well. However, I can see them getting something against Preston on the final day. They're kind of lucky in one sense that it's a team they're playing that doesn't have anything to play for on the final day, because if it had someone like Plymouth on the final day, I really do think West Brom would be in danger of dropping out of the top 6 on the final day. But against Preston, I think the Baggies should be fine, and at home, the crowd will get them over it, and I think they will finish in the playoffs. West Brom 2, Preston 0 on the final day, confirming their playoff spot. Well then guys, on screen now will be how the final championship table would look if all of my predictions were to come true. Of course, it's very, very unlikely to happen, so make sure you have your say in the comment section down below. I'm very intrigued of how you think the season will end, and also give me your top 6 and bottom 3 for the season. And a lot of content coming your way, a lot of content with watch-longs, playoff streams, early predictions for Euros, lots of Euros predictions, and before you know it, next season will be on its way round. So thank you all very much for your incredible support this season on the prediction videos. Hopefully you have enjoyed them. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video as well. If you have, smash a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one very soon, guys. Take care. Good.